Hi there, good noon and what's up? How are you guys doing today? So, I hope that you are relishing it, enjoying it, all these sessions where we bring in a lot of quality questions for you so that you and I can sit down and practice things together. Okay, so I welcome you to yet another session of our series 500 Most Important CAT Questions Part 8. And this time around, I will not really take you through the overview of the CAT because we've done it 7 times before and you have definitely managed to get that right each one of those other 7 times. So let's skip that, but I welcome you to BYJU'S Exam Prep channel that is focused on your success as a CAT aspirant. I am Vikrant. I am your personal coach for all things related to English, communication skills and the attitude needed for champions, the mental aspects of preparation. If you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing to us. We keep on bringing a lot of high quality stuff for you that helps you every step of the way. Okay, so you ready? Shall we start? Hi Harshad, hi Sonali, what's up? Ready for it? Ready for it? So we are going to do something really simple today. We'll of course go ahead and work on a particular passage, right? So as usual, we'll go ahead and work on a passage, but then apart from that passage, we are also going to talk about an area that we normally do not cover much, and that area is critical reasoning. We know it is very important for our exam, right? There are a lot of RC questions which are basically nothing but disguised critical reasoning. Okay. Similarly, you have these direct questions asked in a lot of different exams. Becoming good at CR also helps you with areas like decision making of that. So in case these things help you, I think you would like to practice these things more, right? So ready for the passage? Shall we start? Let's go. So here is the first part, and as usual, the first 2 paragraphs are on the screen. The moment you are done with these 2 paragraphs, just let me know so that I can take you over to the next slide. Let's see. Hi Shiv Sankar. Thank you for the update, Harshad. I like that. Done. Okay, fantastic. So here is the next paragraph. Okay, are we done? Fantastic. Here is the next one. A pretty brief paragraph. Lot of data here though, lot of data here to process. Shraddha, it's okay, you can just move back and start from the beginning. It's absolutely all right. I'm sure it'll still be as fun and as valuable in terms of learning experience. Oh, or in case you do want it live, you can probably skip the first question, join us from second. In the interim, you can go ahead and read the paragraph, the passage, sorry. And here is the last part. So, read it? Now, this is a very fascinating paragraph. You know, it's a bit like a blockbuster movie. All these blockbusters, they have everything. They have drama, they have action, they have comedy, they have songs and dances. Similarly, this is a passage that talks about technology, self-driving cars. It ventures into philosophy, ethics. There is this hint of sociology. You also have pets involved. Dogs, cats, everything. So pretty fabulous. Okay, Harshad has a question which I think is one of those frequently asked questions. His concern is, if we are not able to understand the question itself, then how to proceed? So the answer to that is skip that question. But the truth is, it's actually going to be a lot easier. Now, why am I saying that it is going to be a lot easier? So it's basically a lot easier problem to fix. So why do I believe that it is an easy problem to fix? What's my reason behind it? So the reason is, when it comes to the RC question types, you typically see that we have around what? Why is my marker not working? Just give me a sec. Or maybe you can just work with me. I think my pen tab is not in the mood to support me at the moment. But then, you know, there are 21 question types in RC. So at the end of the day, how long can it take us to understand each one of those 21 question types? Not much, right? So if you just spend a few hours in a classroom with a faculty member, you'd get to know each one of those types. Now the examiner can twist those types. The examiner can go ahead and ask these things in a different manner. So that's true. But beyond that, I think we should be good, right? So let's go ahead and start working on the question. So here is the first question based on this particular passage. Give me 3 answers and I'll start discussing it. And Harshad, in case it happens with any of the questions today, please flag it and I will help you thoroughly. And I have managed to get my pen tab working. Yes. So answers, guys, answers. Okay, Vedant has shared the answer. All right, so let's talk about this. The passage begins with the author asserting that everyone. The passage begins by telling us that we have these driverless cars, right? And then in these driverless cars, what is right? So it starts with the trolley problem, that's essentially a decision making problem, then links it with the self-driving cars, and then it takes it up from there. Now, what does this question really ask us to do? This is a question that is usually called an analogous argument question. Okay, so when we say analogous argument questions or parallel argument, parallel structure questions, we are basically saying that, okay, here is an argument given to you or a situation given to you. Can you find an analogous situation, something that is similar? So what exactly is happening in the trolley problem? In the trolley problem, you have a trolley, or to make it easy for you, you have a train, right? You have a track, or rather say two tracks. If it goes on its predestined route, you probably will end up killing 5 persons. But if you pull the lever, there is another agent. If that agent pulls the lever, it can move to a different direction, a different track, where you would lose only 1 person. So should you pull the lever or not? So you have a train which is not in the control of the people in that train. As a bystander, as a third person, somebody with a third person perspective, you can decide which track it goes to in that particular moment. So I have received 3 answer choices so far, A, C and D. Let's start with A. Professional ethicists working for car manufacturing firms, are they like the persons pulling the lever? They can advise, but they cannot act. Their job is to advise. Their job is not to act. It is like if I look at the trolley problem, an ethicist will be something like a consultant. So let's say you are standing there next to the lever, there is a consultant that you can talk to. Hey, what do you think I should be doing in this situation? But eventually you are the one who has to do that job. So A is not exactly analogous. B, CEOs of nobody has chosen B, so let's just rule it out anyway. C, driverless car owners who use their cars to travel abroad. First up, why abroad? What is the implication here? Number 1, these are owners, and when you say who use their cars, you're using present indefinite tense, which basically tells you it's a regular or habitual action. So there is an owner, he uses a particular car to travel abroad, but on that particular day when the decision is to be taken, is the owner also driving the car? And even if he is, he will have a third person perspective or the first person perspective of the entire situation. So you realize that is where C deviates from it. But D, software programmers who design software for driverless cars. Well, at the end of the day, when a car finds itself in a similar situation, it will have to take a call, but the car cannot take a call. That call has to be programmed in it by the software developers or programmers. So they are definitely akin to people who are finally taking that decision for such situations. And therefore, D is going to be the correct analogy. There are parallels. Third person perspective, the person who is actually taking the final decision, final call. So both of those things are here, and that is why we'll go ahead and opt for option D. So the passage also says that a truly self-driving car, after all, will have to be given ethical instructions of some sort by its human programmers. That is mentioned in the second paragraph. So if you refer to that second paragraph, chances are that you would actually find this pretty easy. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next question now. Here it is. Question number 2. The statement self-driving cars may need the ability to download new moralities when they cross national borders implies that. Now, you remember where it was written? If yes, maybe you can refer to that part and then go on. Let's see. Okay, so guys, shall we look at it now? Vedant, left side or right side driving? Why would that be needed? Let's check. Okay, so look at the immediate context. The author talked about that website where moral decisions were being captured. The passage shared the findings. The passage also talked about regional differences. It ended by saying that, okay, if you bought a car in one part of the world, when it moves to some other part, remember the entire world was divided into 3 parts, Western, Eastern, Southern. Then you need to change the moralities because that particular society may happen to have different preferences. So there are places where women are preferred, there are places where you don't have a strong preference, there are places where there is a distinct preference for children over elderly, there are places where the preference is weak. So you need to adjust those decisions according to the society. That is the context in which we are talking about it. So let's look at A. Car manufacturing firms face difficult choices in developing car navigation software which will be acceptable to regulators in different countries. No, there is no question of that changed preference in every society. That's what we are really looking for. B. Different countries have different regulations for self-driving cars which need to be downloaded by cars when they cross national boundaries. Now B once again is talking about regulations, whereas the passage does not talk about regulations, it talks about the moral code and how that moral code changes in terms of preference when it comes to a trolley problem like situation. See, national preferences differ with regard to whom self-driving cars should kill in an accident and navigation software needs to be modified accordingly. Now this is definitely talking about what the passage mentions, pretty close. Nobody has chosen D, so we can rule that out. Right, so that is why the best answer here is C. The difference between B and C was B talked about regulations, but that is very broad. Passage is fundamentally focused on the moral situations where the car has to take a call on whom to kill and whom to save. C definitely touches upon that. So that immediate context had to be looked at. And here comes your next question. Ooh. If you remember, I think the 4th paragraph it was, I reckon. Hopefully you'd be able to answer it. Let's give it a shot. So answers, guys, answers. Where are the answers, folks? Okay, so now that I have gotten a couple of answers, let's dive into it. Let's talk about these. So, which of the following references in driverless car navigation software is likely to get acceptance from the largest number of countries? Now, you notice every region has its own distinct choices, distinct preferences. However, if you look at that fourth paragraph, the strongest preferences all over the world were for saving human lives over animal ones, strong preference. Then preference for saving many rather than few, then prioritizing children over the old. But then it talked about weaker preferences, and finally it said criminals were seen as literally subhumans, ranking below dogs and above cats. So I think putting criminals below everyone else should be pretty acceptable to all, and that is where B comes into picture. See, 5 criminals. You can either save 2 young female teachers each carrying a puppy, as opposed to 5 criminals also crossing the road. So criminals, there is a very strong preference for putting them very low in the hierarchy everywhere, and that is why B should be a natural obvious pick. Let's also look at A. 3 children, 2 young female teachers crossing the road, as opposed to 5 old men also crossing the road. You're right. But then you notice this is going to be a preference in the eastern region. Eastern regions prefer children over western regions prefer children over elderly, but in the eastern regions the preference is not as strong. But in B, I think this is going to be true for every region, every area, and that is why B is better than A. Notice, criminals versus regular people. Who are people choosing throughout? Okay, next one. Give it a shot. This is going to be tough, but let's see how you fare. Okay, so first up, let's look at the question. Regulatory approval of which of the following preferences of car navigation software is likely to face most uncertainty in a southern country with high levels of gender inequality? So let me take you to a part of the passage to see a couple of things. Strongest preference, weaker preferences, and then it in the subsequent paragraph, I think I can actually take you back where they talked about the Western world where there is gender equality, preference for women is higher, which implies that wherever there is gender inequality, as in this particular question, the preference for women may not be as high as it is in those countries, right? Moreover, we know that in Western region you have a preference for children over elderly. In the other areas, well, not so much. So when you look at A, save older women as opposed to older men, wherever there is inequality, you'd actually you may struggle, but then there is a weak preference for women versus men. But if you look at B, save older women as opposed to young male animals, will that help? Nah, not much of an uncertainty there. Animals versus animals, nothing given. Older women as opposed to young female, once again animals. So I think yes, the best answer choice for us is going to be option A. The options actually made our job easy. And here is the last question based on the passage. Go ahead. It's kind of a main idea slash partly inference based question, but let's see how you deal with it. A great performance, guys. All of us managed to get that right. Fabulous. Okay, so we have answers, and I think all of us have once again managed to get this right. So D it is. Absolutely correct, guys. So solid. Okay, with that done, let us dive into critical reasoning directly. So in both of these questions, question number 6, question number 7, you will have a paragraph followed by just one question, as is the norm in CR. So typically in a CR question, your paragraph is followed by a question stem. It is the question stem that tells us what we are supposed to do, and then you have your options. Okay, but it is difficult to fit the entire question onto a single slide. So what I'll do is that I'll give you paragraph and question stem on one slide, and then on the next one I'll repeat the question stem and go ahead and give you the options along with it. So why don't you read the paragraph and the question stem once, please? Done reading it? Okay, so here is the question. So what's your take? You can use the seeker to go back to the last one. Oh, Vedant, that's fantastic and quick. Good to see you responding this fast. Okay, so let's look at A. The writer, so in every inference based question, you simply need to go ahead and figure out whether the option is, a given option is true, false or can't say. So A says the writer prefers the second type of traveler. Now, is there anything in this paragraph that shows, okay, so you have two types of travelers. That's one. And then this is another. Is there anything that tells you that the author prefers the second one over first or the first one over second? Any part here that shows that he prefers the second over first or vice versa? I don't see any such word, any such line. And therefore, my label for A should be can't say. Then B, again, B is a value judgment. B suggests that the author does not like the first type of traveler. Nothing in the paragraph to support that. The author's opinion is not revealed, so can't say. C, on the other hand, is true. And in an inference based question, true is preferred over can't say. So because you have a true conclusion, we mark that as our answer and eliminate the rest. And that is why it should be C. So there are times when we allow our biases to come into picture, okay, our preferences to come into picture. You read this and you're like, oh, the second type of traveler appeals to me. Now that's the way. But the truth is, the author hasn't said that. He's just describing what these two types of travelers do. So on the basis of that, we can say that, yeah, second traveler follows a plan. Whether that's better than the first one, we wouldn't know. Okay, and here comes the next question, another inference based question. Go ahead, read the paragraph, and once you're done with it, let me know. Done? Okay. So I have a secondary question as well. You notice this question happens to have 5 answer choices. I've taken this question, it's an actual question from one of these B school exams. Can you tell me which exam it has been taken from? Or in other words, do you know the exams where we have 5 options? So that has 5 options. Maharashtra CAT also happens to have 5 options, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and see. Goats, when they look at a smiling person, the goats are happy. We don't know. When they look at a frowning person, goats are afraid of him. See, the paragraph basically says goats are slowly becoming the new dog. They're truly qualified to be man's best friend. Heartwarming research, just like humans, goats have no desire to interact with people who come off as angry or upset. And that they are much more attracted to those with big smiles plastered across their face. So, in this context, when we look at option A, when they look at a smiling person, the goats are happy, probably true. We can't be 100% certain, but because they're attracted, you're attracted towards those that make you feel happy, make you feel good, right? Then, but when they look at a frowning person, goats are afraid of him. Can't say. They could be afraid, they may not be afraid, but probably the feeling is negative, yes, but is that negative feeling necessarily the feeling of being afraid? We don't know. When they look at a straight-faced person, goats remain passive. Again, we don't know. When they look at a frowning person, the goats are sad. Just like B, D is also going to be can't say. The feeling is negative, but it is difficult to posit which exact negative feeling. Is it sadness? Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it depression? I don't know. E, when they look at a smiling person, goats run towards him. How do we know that they run towards that person? Where does it say this in the paragraph? So they can distinguish between people who are happy or angry. They are attracted to those with big smiles plastered across their face. But smiling, is that equal to number one, big smile plastered across the face? Running, the paragraph says attracted. Can we from there come up with running? There are going to be issues, and therefore we'll have to label it as can't say. They may walk for all we know, or they may allow that person to come close for all we know. They may follow that person. We don't know whether they necessarily run or not. Okay, so the best option for us as a result here is A. The probability of A being true is the highest. So there is no option which is definitely true, but that's how slightly ambiguous, slightly confusing questions are created. Okay, here is the next one. Now this, go through the directions and you'd know. 4 sentences, when properly sequenced, form a coherent paragraph. What is this going to be? Well, this is going to be a para jumble. Let's go ahead and have a shot at it. So tell me what you think. Okay, so plenty of answers. Let's just go ahead and identify the clues. You know, look at this dust cloud. And then second says a massive cloud of dust. Now you notice and the. So on the basis of this, I can say the sentence 2 should come before sentence 1. Third says planetary systems around other stars tend to form in a similar way. So prior to this, we would ideally like to have that way. Fourth says the faster rotation flattened the cloud. So 4 should also come after 2, plus look at first. It says this dust cloud rotated slowly at first but sped up as it contracted. So the faster rotation should come after it. So definitely 2, 1, 4. And then if you look at 2, 1 and 4, they talk about the way in which the planetary systems are formed. So third can be put afterwards because it uses the expression similar way, and thus our answer here should be 2, 1, 4, 3. Some of us have picked up 2, 4, 1, 3, but then the faster rotation of first, where it talks about starting slow and then speeding up, should come before. So just one tiny problem for some of us. And then similar way, third can only come after fourth. Fourth is where you have a planetary system forming. So 3 cannot be put before 4. So 2, 1, 4, 3. In case we could not reach this particular option, it means that there were some clues that we may have missed out on. Just learn to spot those clues, focus on those clues, and we are going to be good to go. Okay, so that's about the questions that I have brought for you today. This is true in general. Every exit is an entry someplace else, but I can actually use it literally, because at 1 p.m. Immediately after my session, you are going to have another session with Saral sir, where he can help you solve some more math questions. So make sure that you take a quick break, grab your cup of tea, breakfast, snacks, whatever, and then tune in once again at 1 p.m. And if you want to be one of the toppers, do consider joining our excellent exhaustive CAT 23 program. There is a scholarship test that's going to happen on 28th of May, which can make this decision significantly easier for you. To do appear for the test, and you can get up to 90% off. Then we are now entering the business end of the season. We have around 6 months to go. So Gautam Baba is going to take you through a 6-month strategy for your CAT preparation on 21st of May. I'd say that is definitely a must attend session. Additionally, if you want more practice, head over to our app where we upload daily section wise quizzes, and make sure that you keep joining us for this series at 1, and then in fact Gaurav sir is also taking a session at 3 for you today. So a pretty jam-packed day for those of you who are serious about practice. If you enjoyed this session, don't forget to like it before you go and follow us at these places. So that's it from me today. I look forward to meeting you guys once again in our next session together. Until then, stay safe, stay focused, stay in touch. See you soon.